Baghdad, Iraq. December 29, 2006, 6 a.m. The cell measures 8 feet by 12. Concrete walls sweat condensation in the fluorescent glare that never dims. The air tastes like metal and disinfectant. Saddam Hussein sits upright against cold stone. 69 years old. 24 years in power. 3 years in American custody. A Quran rests open in his lap. His hands turn pages with a deliberate slowness. The same hands that signed execution orders for thousands. The same hands that once held absolute power over 25 million souls. He wears a dark suit jacket over white shirt. No tie. No decorations. No gold pistol or ceremonial sash. The man who built palaces across Iraq now occupies less space than a prison bathroom. This is the story of Saddam Hussein's final day alive. American guards rotate shifts outside the cell door. Their boots echo down corridors that smell like industrial cleaner and stale coffee. Inside, there is only stillness. Pages turning. Breath moving in and out. Saddam refuses breakfast when it arrives. Requests tea instead. Black. No sugar. A guard brings it in a paper cup that burns his palms. He once drank from crystal in the Republican Palace. Servants brought Turkish coffee on silver trays. Foreign dignitaries waited hours for audiences. Now paper cups, prison rations, fluorescent light that makes everything look dead. But his spine remains straight. His gaze remains steady. Pride becomes the last fortress when empires fall. The Iraqi High Tribunal delivered its verdict weeks ago. Death by hanging for crimes against humanity. The Dujail massacre. The Kurdish villages. The mass graves scattered across desert sand. Saddam sees only American puppets and Persian revenge. In his mind, he remains president. In his mind, history will vindicate him. He writes letters on prison paper. His handwriting loops with practiced elegance. To his daughters. To the Iraqi people. To whoever might listen after the rope does its work. He tells them not to hate. Tells them to forgive. Tells them the truth will emerge from lies. His jaw stays tight as the pen scratches across paper. Weak winter light filters through the high window, cold and gray like dishwater. Saddam kneels on a prayer rug facing Mecca. His lips move through verses learned in childhood. Allahu Akbar. God is greatest. He prays 5 times daily, but today each prayer weighs heavier. Each prostration feels like rehearsal for something permanent. A guard watches through the door's small window, sees an old man with gray hair and trimmed beard. The infamous mustache thinner now, softer. This is the dictator who survived assassination attempts and wars with Iran and America, who executed rivals at cabinet meetings, who built statues of himself in every city square. Now he prays alone in a cell that smells like concrete and hopelessness. When he finishes, he sits cross-legged staring at nothing. His face reveals nothing. Fear or resignation or belief in martyrdom, all hidden behind the mask he wore for decades. He speaks only when spoken to. And when he speaks, his tone suggests a man who believes he already won. Evening brings dinner on a plastic tray. Rice, chicken, bread that tastes like cardboard. Saddam eats slowly, methodically. Each bite deliberate. Time has become strange in these final hours. Minutes stretch like taffy. Hours compress into heartbeats. He finishes half the plate, pushes it aside, requests a cigar. The request dies in bureaucratic silence. He smirks. A bitter smile that says, of course, they take everything eventually. He lies on the thin mattress and closes his eyes. His chest rises and falls with practiced control. But his mind riots behind closed lids. Images flicker. Uday and Qusay dead in Mosul 3 years ago. His palace is burning. His statues pulled down. His country bleeding under occupation and sectarian warfare. And him, here, waiting for men with rope and righteousness. The detention facility never sleeps. Generators hum. Ventilation systems rattle. Somewhere a radio plays American music. Saddam sits upright on his mattress. Sleep abandoned him years ago. Now only fragments come. Dreams that feel like memories. Memories that feel like nightmares. He thinks of Tikrit, the village that produced a president. The tribal networks that lifted him from poverty to power. The Ba'ath Party. The 1968 coup. The years building Iraq into a regional superpower with oil money and Soviet weapons. Everything he built, everything he destroyed, all of it leading to this cell. This night, this dawn approaching like a blade. His hands shake slightly when he pours water from a bottle. He notices, stops, forces them steady through will alone. Footsteps echo in the hallway, low voices, the shift in energy unmistakable. Saddam sits up before the door opens. He knows. The body knows before the mind accepts. An Iraqi judge enters carrying documents, reads the final judgment aloud, words about justice and crimes and sentences. Saddam listens without expression, stone absorbing water. The verdict flows over him and leaves no mark. He nods once, just once. The gesture says he heard this before. We'll hear it no more. They ask about final requests. He wants firing squad. The death of a soldier, not a criminal. The dignity of military execution. Request denied. He will hang like a common murderer. The irony tastes like copper. He almost laughs. Almost. They move him to a holding area. The walls press closer here. The air thickens with something between anticipation and dread. Saddam still wears his suit jacket. Still clean-shaven. Still composed. 2 guards flank him. He walks between them with head up and shoulders back. He will not shuffle, will not beg, will not give them the satisfaction of seeing him reduced. A Sunni imam arrives for final prayers. They recite Quranic verses together. The cleric's voice trembles. Saddam's voice holds firm and clear. He knows these words by heart, said them his entire life. Now they become his last possession. The imam asks if he feels afraid. Saddam looks at him with eyes that ruled a nation and says, "This is nothing." The execution chamber occupies a converted military intelligence building. Concrete, bare, functional. The gallows stand in the center, wooden, crude. A noose hangs from steel beams swaying slightly like it breathes. Saddam enters with hands bound behind his back. He looks at the gallows without flinching, studies them like another tactical problem to solve. Guards surround him. Some wear militia badges poorly hidden. Shiite fighters disguised as officials. They waited 3 years for this moment. They begin chanting. A cleric's name. Sectarian victory songs. Saddam turns his head sharply. His eyes narrow. Not fear. Anger. He questions their bravery. His voice cuts through noise like a knife through silk. They keep chanting. Someone films on a cell phone. The moment becomes ugly, chaotic. Sectarian revenge masquerading as justice. Saddam recognizes the truth, but he will not break for their cameras. 13 steps lead to the platform. Each one echoes. Each one brings him closer to his final moment. At the top, they position him in place. They offer a black hood. He refuses, tells them he has no fear. An executioner approaches. Saddam jerks away, orders them not to touch him. He recites the Shahada, the Islamic declaration of faith. His voice remains steady. His eyes stay open. He stares straight ahead at nothing and everything. The chanting grows louder. Someone shouts insults. Saddam responds with a sharp defiance. Then silence. Just for a second, the room holds its breath. The order is given. Within moments, it is over. The man who controlled an entire nation for 24 years meets his end in a dim concrete room. Watched by men with cell phones and grudges. Witnessed by history and revenge. At 6:05 a.m. on December 30th, 2006, Saddam Hussein's life ends. The video leaks within hours. Grainy footage spreads across the world. A dictator's final moments captured on cell phone cameras. His body returns to Al-Auja near Tikrit, buried beside his sons. Thousands attend, calling him martyr and hero. The Americans call him war criminal. History will call him both. Iraq fractures further. The execution solves nothing. Sunni and Shiite warfare intensifies. The country he ruled with iron becomes a sectarian battlefield. A decade later, the debate continues. Justice or revenge? Liberation or destruction? Tyrant or strongman? But in that moment, in that room, in those final seconds, Only the weight of judgment and silence. Saddam Hussein ruled as dictator, died as prisoner. The distance between those truths contains empires rising and falling. The last thing he saw was enemies. The last thing he experienced was the end of power. Then nothing. Just the conclusion in a converted intelligence building. Just another dictator joining the long line of men who thought power was permanent. What do you think Iraq lost when Saddam died that morning? Drop a comment and share your thoughts on the Lion of Babylon's final moments.